Hey everybody, Jonathon Marc Mendes, Painted Love, and welcome to the 5th studio session with me here in my home studio. They've been going very well. People are really enjoying these. So I have been looking at some of your comments, and as promised on the last studio session, I thought we would do dark wax, and again, demystify dark wax. Lots of people seem to be frightened of it. Wherever I've been in the world, whenever I daub dark wax onto my pieces of furniture, people kind of cringe, like, what are you doing? You're going to spoil your piece of furniture. Well, I'm not frightened of dark wax. It's one of the looks I love the most with using chalk paint and chalk paint wax. So we're going to use that today. Also, a lot of the things that you may learn from using the coloured wax, you can convert. So dark wax, you could probably use the same techniques with white wax, and many of the other brands will work very similarly to chalk paint. So convert to however you want to use the product. I'm just going to kind of demystify some of the issues that you might get with dark wax. Anyway, without further ado, let's go over to the overhead camera and see what we've got. Okay guys, what you're seeing on the table at the moment is a large kitchen cabinet door painted in Scandinavian pink. This is just one of my my doors that I do all of my teaching and training on. It's not the bestest paint finish that I've ever done. I did it quickly before going on to camera with you guys. So let's talk dark wax. What the products that we're going to use today: Annie Sloan clear chalk paint wax. We're going to do that in a moment. We've also got a rather old can of Annie Sloan. I hope it's all right. It's kind of dried up a little. Yeah, it's all right. Not a problem. Annie Sloan soft chalk paint wax. And we've also got things that we might use, a variety of brushes. So these are different wax brushes. I like to wax with a brush. Some people wax with they wax with sponges, kitchen sponges. You could wax with an actual paintbrush and clean it out really well with some spirits and then reuse it for painting. I've even known somebody to wax with their hands. Not my thing. But yeah, there's lots of ways of waxing. You can even wax with a cloth. So I've also got cloth to offload, and some of the other things that I've got here. I've got some spirits, some thinner. Turpentine if you're in the UK, so paint thinner. Waxes are definitely the dark wax are oil-based products, so we can water them down with that. Also wire wool. So let's talk about what I'm going to talk and do, because it's boring if you're not seeing me doing. Right, let's open the wax. What I like to do is decant some of your wax. If you're using dark wax, take some of your wax out of the large container and decant into a bowl. I always use these ceramic bowls because they're washable. They're washed over and over again for paint. Also, you could save plastic containers, food containers, and reuse them, repurpose them. Right, 2 different wax brush. This one's a much smaller wax brush. It's an Annie one. It's handheld. It's easy for getting into corners. It's got a lovely point to the top surface, which means you're able to get into the crevices really well. I like the larger version. This is getting worn down a bit. So all we're going to do is we're going to pre-wax this, ready to receive the dark wax. So we're going to apply a healthy coat of wax. Let's get this on. A little bit of a different colour paint there. I don't know if it's come out the end of my brush or my hands. I've been using Provence today. So let's put this on. Now, yeah, where is this coming from? It must be coming from me or the brush. Provence. Excuse the Provence. It is a good colour combination. Right, so let's talk wax. Now, can you dark wax a previous waxed piece of furniture? Yes, you can. All I would say is if you're waxing something, if you're going to add dark wax to a piece that you've already painted a long time ago, just give the piece of furniture another coat of clear wax. The reason being is it will have dried out the wax, the surface. It would have dried out a little bit, and it will grab. You cannot use, well, you can, but it's not not advisable on softer colours. Dark wax or black wax straight onto a chalk paint finish. It's porous. It's very, very porous. And what happens, it sucks it in and it stains. And I think some people may have gone wrong, you know, when you're learning the basics, people go wrong with that straight away, and then it puts them off, dark wax. The only time I would do that is maybe on some of the darker colours, like graphite, or what else have we got? Athenian black. They look great with dark wax or black wax straight onto the surface. It will seal it, it will create that durability. So yeah, those colours definitely, but not maybe Scandinavian pink. It will look muddy. It will just kill all of that beautiful tone. Now the trick is, and I'm trying to do this quick on camera, is to get a good coat of wax and make sure it's well covered, because if you miss any areas, that's what it's going to do. It's going to suck in that dark wax and it's going to spoil the overall look. So I've got some cloth here, and we're just going to take off the excess clear wax. I'm just letting the cloth, this cloth is quite porous, quite fluffy, not fluffy. They're the wrong words. Don't use a fluffy rag at all. Use something that is absorbent. That's the word I'm looking for. Shop towel is great. Don't say, not fluffy, because fluffy will stick into your wax. You don't want fluffy. But these are lovely old bed sheets that I've used, and I wash these and reuse them. So because it is kind of my favourite, it just takes up the right amount of wax, and you'll feel it. Now, what I'm doing is rotating the rag around just to make sure I'm hitting a cleaner side where there's no wax. Otherwise it will, and that'll do for now, because I don't want to make this bone dry, because if I do, it's not gonna, the wax is kind of not gonna work as well, the dark wax. So referring back to, if you've waxed this, let's say yesterday, and it's clear wax, and you're thinking, I'll do the dark wax tomorrow, again, please don't forget, you need to go back with your wax before hitting it with the dark wax. Wherever you're going to put this dark wax, you're going to have to go back over those areas. And generously as well, because this is when you make a mistake, you can erase it. So you can make a mistake with dark wax and then erase it with clear wax. And then you won't have those issues where you think, oh, I don't like that, I don't like that. If you don't do this, it's going to grab much quicker and it's going to spoil the overall. So if you've waxed it a while ago, if you've just waxed the, like this, a small area, and you're going to do the dark waxing, you're good to go straight away, almost straight away. So I'm leaving that sort of residue on there. We are going to muddy the whole thing up at some point. We're just going to start off with baby steps with the wax. I'm going to pop that to one side, and let's have a look at this. Yeah, it's okay, I think. I might just add a little bit of spirit into the bottom of this can, because it's kind of been sat and dried up a little bit, only a little bit. And that's another thing you can do. Oh, also, I've got artist brushes. So I've got a variety. You can use cheap kids bristly brushes to directionally add dark wax to these grooves. So that's what we're going to do first, and then we're going to build up the wax quite heavily, so you can see it in all different ways. So wax on the end of the brush, and then I can literally paint into the grooves. So into those areas, all the areas where I think there would be build-up of age. I'm working fairly quick, and I'm not worrying where I'm overlapping. I just want to make sure if there's a detail. This is great for a very detailed piece. Into here. Like I said, you kind of need the clear wax in there first. It's noisy outside today. I'm going to do everywhere. I'm just going to do all of these detailed areas. I'm going to take this off and kind of keep it quite subtle. Right, and then I'm going to use another cloth and I'm going to apply a little bit of wax. I'm using my brush. I'm offloading some wax to my, don't want that in there, to here. So that even this is loaded up with a nice sort of soft layer of wax. Right, and all I'm going to do is pass over the high ground, like so, and just remove. So if you think of this part as your eraser, it's kind of like your eraser to remove the wax that you don't want. Try not to dig into the crevices because that's where you want the wax to stay. If you've got detail, that's where you want it to stay, like so. I don't know how that looks on camera. Can you see now it's adding that dark sort of aged lip into there? And it's also, and it's keeping, I suppose, I'm also able to keep my Scandinavian pink quite clean because there's plenty of, and if there's an area you really don't like I'm looking here and kind of thinking, I'm not so sure about that area, I can just add a bit of clear wax there and take that all the way out. If I just push into that area, I'm removing wax. Clear wax removes dark wax. So if you're not sure of an area, just take it out. I kind of think that maybe there wouldn't be a wax line there. If this is dust over years, it'd probably be more down here. So sort of sat on that edge. Sort of in this bottom edge and then the corners. So definitely more in the deeper crevice. So that's that. That's directional sort of waxing. So remember, you might have to change this a few times because it will get dirty, or just flip it around, find a clean spot. And if you want to, even take it out of the bowl like that. If you want to just add a bit of clear wax, and you can clean up any of the marks where you don't want. If there's a mark there where you think, I didn't want the wax there, you can remove that. Really simple, like so. Right, now we're going to go for, now this board has been used many times. I think it's the board that we did frottage on back in session 2. It's got kind of textural to it. So we're going to make the dark wax sit over the textures. So there is a lot of texture in this board. I'm going to use my small wax brush. You could use a very cheap chalk painting brush that's quite flat-headed and just go over everything. So I'm going to literally cover everything here, a quick coat, and it will alter the colour a little bit because you're not going to remove everything. I like this look. I mean, I'm never frightened of going full on wax everywhere. Because if you have got little chalk paint anomalies, it's gonna sit on them, and I love that. You know, if you add the texture, like we did in the previous studio session, we added texture with all sorts of things, salt wash, brush textures, and a lot of what I do with chalk paint is created by adding texture with the paintbrush and the product. So there we go. The only thing about this is I know that there's been a piece of tape down the middle, so it's going to pick up that. And when you're creating texture, you need to create random texture. You don't need to create flat texture with a line through the middle. You don't want to be putting tape on. Anyhow, right, I'm going to grab another cloth and I'm just going to apply a little bit of clear wax to that and rub it in. And we're going to kind of buff this off. Again, trying not to hit too much of those lower details. We're just kind of skimming over the high ground, and we're ending up with something that looks like it's been aged for a long, long time. And I really love this look. Absolutely stunning. There, see? Very easy just to do it all as one and go, you know, work in sections. If it's cupboard doors, do one cupboard door, then the next one, on and on and on and on. And I like what it does to the Scandinavian pink. It mellows the Scandinavian pink down. It's a good look for me. I like that. Let me just give you a little bit more of a close-up of some of the detail in here. Let's go up. I'm hoping you can see that on camera. I would work it a little bit longer. I'm just doing it quick for the camera. So it depends how heavy or light you like your dark waxing. Now, another asked question for me is, if you've got dark wax on something that's been on it for a long time and you want to fix it, or you don't like it, or you've got a mark in it, or you want to just remove it, pare it down, what do I do? So the trick is with that is some spirits, or turpentine if you're in the UK, and some fine wire wool. This is not fine, it's coarse. I didn't have any fine left. And I'm just gonna pop this on here and kind of just soak that in a little bit. It's not the thing to do, but I am gonna do it anyway. It will scratch all sorts, it'll bring back all the layers of paint, I'm sure. But you can just take it back and take some off. So, and you can almost bring it back to your paint colour. Fine, and just circular motions and just knock it back. This will be quite interesting. So, as you can see, I'm starting to knock back the edges. I'm gonna go for this now. I'm gonna absolutely go for it and bring back whatever's underneath here and be quite brutal with it. But that is the way you would fix it. I'm just gonna roll on with a bit of fun here and distress it with this coarse wire wool because I think that'd be really gorgeous. There's definitely Provence under there. There's all sorts of things going on here. We get that sort of farmhouse look. We will do a different distressing techniques at some point. These workshop cupboard doors have had a lot of layers of paint, so they're really fun when we work on them and bring back layers of it. This is lovely. I'm going to love this, and kind of want a whole kitchen in it probably. My neighbours are noisy today. I think somebody's cutting their lawn. They watch me, so I'm sure they kind of start cutting their lawns so they can get on the live. Oh yeah, this is lovely. That's really nice. So I wouldn't really advise wire wool, coarse wire wool. This is for other things, but actually it's come up all right. So a little bit of clear wax. I might actually just give that a bit of a. I'm going to let all of this gruff sit into there, little bits of texture and all sorts. Bit of clear wax again. And then we'll go back over once again with a little bit of dark. So, I'm hoping I didn't miss anything out there. If you happen to be watching this in the live, feel free to leave a comment. As in the YouTube channel, these will sit there. You can leave in the comment section there. If you fancy leaving any questions there, that's fine, I'll answer them. Or if you are in the Academy group, just go in the group and ask the question. There'll be many other people there that have been in the group for a long time that will know the answers. So it's a shared place. We love sharing our ideas together in the Academy group. That's it, we're going to clean that up a little bit. Oh, how lovely. I'm really happy with that. it's just a little bit interesting with all of those other layers of paint. And even the original colour, or it's not, that's the, I think that is the Athenian black from the last tutorial which I did. Athenian black was when I did the frottage, so you can see bits of that. And I think there is a little bit of Arles somewhere in there as well. So that's that. We'll flip to the other camera so you can see in better light. Where are we? Here we go. So that is the end results of, how can we show you, of how to dark wax. There's many other things that you can do with dark wax, but this is kind of the basics. Don't be frightened of dark wax. If you get it wrong, you can just plainly remove it using some spirits or clear wax and some fine wire wool if you really make the mistake. And at the end of the day, nothing's lost anyway because it's chalk paint. If you make the mistake, you can paint straight over your wax surface and start from the beginning. So I always tell my students, don't worry about it. If it goes wrong, start again. It's all you've done is learn something, and you'll learn not to do it that way again, and you've lost a little bit of paint and time. This is how I've learned most of my painting techniques, so I never worry about it. Everything's fixable. Anyhow, I hope that some of this demystifies how to use dark wax and encourages you to use it and not to be frightened of it. It's a wonderful product. Anyway, lots of love, tuning out. I will see you next time on the studio sessions. Take care, everyone.